Good evening, Commissioner Towns, Madam President, and members of the RIOC Board. The resignation of Keith Guerra as Director of the Roosevelt Island Public Safety Department provided our community with belief that a new vision was possible for law enforcement on our island. A sense of relief could be felt by all: residents, public safety officers, and RIOC employees. Tonight, as chair of the RIRA Public Safety Committee, I'd like to acknowledge the changes that have been made, as well as the ones that are unfolding on a daily basis, as Director McManus continues professionalizing his force. Keith Guerra's resignation was the first step necessary for the transformation of the Public Safety Department into a more community-minded police force. His departure has sent a strong signal that the zero-tolerance maximum enforcement mindset and de facto policies are coming to an end on Roosevelt Island, and that fair and humane guidelines will be put in place, ensuring, in fact, the protection of constitutional rights and the prevalence of judgment and discretion, allowing for the acceptance of the department's legitimate authority. RIOC President Charlene Indelicato and Director Jack McManus both speak of a public safety department that works with the community. They speak of mutual respect and trust, fostered through honesty and open dialogue and communication. The PSC agrees with this concept for our community police force and believes that this vision is real for them. But the legacy of Guerra remains, the legacy of the Guerra era remains in the continued presence of abusive officers Sergeant Raul Hernandez and Ralph Torrens, and Guerra's four top subordinates: Deputy Director Renee Bryant, Captain Estrella Suarez, Lieutenant Gary Yee, and Integrity Officer Wanda Coleman. In July 2013, the PSC adopted a resolution which outlined our future focus: to remove the remaining abusive officers and to work closely with the authorities to build a PSD that we are content with and that can do its job with legitimate authority. The PSC continues to believe that for trust and respect to be fostered, these officers must be removed from their positions. These remaining officers continue to patrol our street, are responsible for officers' training, and in leadership role are responsible for the integrity of the department. Director McManus believes that these officers will change simply through his oversight and because he models appropriate behaviors. This may or may not be the case, and I am certain that all of the above are under pressure to be on their best behavior. But for us, it is primarily a question of justice and accountability and the need for a clean break from the Guerra era, as well as sending a message that there are consequences for brutality and the promotion or tolerance of abuse. The record is clear. These leaders and officers collaborated in the use of excessive force, frivolous arrests, and unjustified detentions. The community cannot just ignore these past facts. These actions over time have undermined the legitimate authority of these officers and of the remaining public safety department. If they remain unpunished, where is the accountability that the community has requested? What has changed to make the community trust this department's leaders? Guerra was famous for never finding fault in his officers' behavior. Over the past 5 years, in all the suspensions issued to his men, none were because of the civilian complaints. That is our problem now. Is it really okay to have done what these individuals are accused of having done without any recourse? We acknowledge the positive changes that have occurred since John McManus was selected by President Charlene Indelicato to direct the Public Safety Department, and acknowledge the President's knowledge and community-minded vision for this department. But the authority for any law enforcement entity has to flow from public respect and credibility, and the addition or change of one man alone, when there are legitimate complaints on record on the existing force, in leadership positions and in positions of power, will not fix the problem. How can the vision of a new force that we share be possible when the same officers enforce and condone the policies of Guerra unequivocally? Meanwhile, as we watch changes unfold, we are still waiting for the auditor's findings on the Public Safety Department to be published, as well as the report of findings from the IG's investigation into the civilian complaints that the PSC submitted back in March through the RIOC board. Now that Guerra is no longer in charge, we are comfortable moving forward together, but we must stress that we are still focused on justice for what has happened as the best deterrent for preventing reoccurrence. When all of Guerra's followers and supporters of his de facto policies are gone, and the officers who want to be part of this unique community are free to do the job of community policing professionally and with respect, This will finally bring the certainty of change to every resident of Roosevelt Island and represent a major step towards restoring the legitimate authority of the Public Safety Department. The PSC, while enjoying a more honest and friendly relationship with the new director of the PSD, as well as with President Indulcado, maintains its independence and envisions our purpose as a monitor of PSD behavior and a voice and advocate for legitimate community grievances. The PSC continues to press for the removal of those PSD officers who engaged in unprovoked violence against peaceful residents and visitors to our island, and look forward to the future actions that we hope will be taken to ensure that this goal is accomplished. Thank you.